So here we are, folks. This is a screencast video on how to set up a Twitter account and just do some minor things in Twitter for some of our schools that are getting Twitter accounts set up. So first you can see I'm on the district web page. I'm going to go up to twitter.com. I've got that bookmarked here, so set that up. You can see I've already got my stuff set up here on the web page, but if I did just type in, let's see, www.twitter.com, it would take me to just a generic page. It's linked this way because I have logged in. So in any case, I want to go, once I'm logged in or I'm signed in, so you can see I can sign out here and do a number of things here on settings. View my profile page, for instance. You can see recent tweets and things that I have tweeted out. You can see followers here and who I'm following, and it lets me edit my profile. So there's a number of things that we can do. I'm going to sign out here and set up an account. So I'm going to, let's see. I don't want to do any of this, sorry. So I've signed out, and this is kind of the generic home page that you would come to if you just went to twitter.com. So if I'm new to Twitter and I want to sign up, and I'm going to sign up one of our schools right now, I'm going to do, let's see, I had this set up, set a generic account, Sandberg Elementary. And at some point she may want to use this account, so I believe that's Marilyn Laughlin. And she may not appreciate me setting this up for her, but I'm going to anyway. So I'm going to put that in there. I need to put in her email address. For my sake, I'm just going to put in, actually, let's do this. I gotta find her email address. Hold on a second. I'm just looking this up real quick. It's kind of a complex one, so I'm going to type this in. I apologize, I thought I had this ready to go. I'm just looking up her email address. Here we go. And the reason we want to use a main email address here is because when you get alerts of people following you, sometimes they're spam and inappropriate Twitter accounts that will attempt to follow you and send you direct messages, and you want to be able to delete those and make sure they don't get attached to your account. See what I mean by weird email address? Sorry, Marilyn. I'm going to think of a really nice, easy password to use that I can remember. I'm going to sign her up for Twitter. So I push that button. Marilyn Laughlin name looks great. I'm actually going to change this to Sandberg E-L-E-M. Now the reason we want to use kind of a unified way of doing things, so that when it's kind of a branding technique. So we want the first name capitalized, the school, and then capital E-L-E-M if it's a junior high school, J-H-S capitalized, or high school, H-S capitalized. But either way, it is case sensitive on the username. So password could be a little more secure, but that's okay. It says I can still use that name right here. It says name looks great. It's going to email me a confirmation. And that's how I do it. I create my account and I click that button. Now I'm not going to do this because Marilyn doesn't know I'm doing it, for one, and I want to be able to show you how to do things after you signed in, and obviously I don't have access to her account, so I'm going to go ahead and cancel, and I'm just going to go up here and I'm going to sign in using my own name. Now when I sign in, it's not case sensitive, and that's okay, but I've already got my password there, so I can sign in. And so once you're there, and your accounts are going to look a little different, you may not have as many tweets, you're obviously not going to have as many followers, and that's okay. This is kind of a home page you'll always kind of come to. There's going to suggest some people who they think you could follow. Let's look at that and see if there's some other people I might want to follow. Just scrolling down, this is a good way to get those 50 people I was telling you you're going to want follow just to get started. A good way to find followers is to follow people. So whenever I come and log into Twitter, I always take a look here and see if there's local folks or media that I should be following, just to make sure. I'm not seeing anything like that, so I'm not going to worry about it. In any case, I'm getting some questions about how to find people to follow. There's a couple different ways you can do that. See up here where it says enter hashtag or keyword. I could type in the word education. And there's a couple here. U.S. Department of Education that pop up, NASA, this is the Space Lab in California. They have a Twitter account. There's a number of just people who are using, that'll look up tweets based on the word education. Okay, so that's a great way to look up people that are related to like HuffPost Education. So maybe I want to follow them. I'm just going to click on their icon like I did there, and this little box is going to pop up. I'm going to push follow, and I have lists, and you can set these up, and I'll show you in the advanced class how to do that. I'm going to add them to my education list, or I could create a new list here if I wanted to. I'll show you how that works, and I just type in any sort of description I want and make it public or private. People can actually come in if they're following you and follow just your list, which would help them to follow more people without actually going and individually following each of those people. So that's one way to find people to follow. Another thing is hashtags, which we're going to delve into more in our next class. So you could type in hashtag mark, and you can see this discover thing. That's another thing I'm going to show you here in a second. UTED, which is a hash mark for Utah education. If I type that in, there's going to be a number of tweets that are local regarding people who are tweeting about Utah education. So you can see these things called hash marks. UEN is Utah Education Network posting. UT Public Ed, we could look at that one and see how many people are tweeting there. Usually UEN's using that one. UTED, UTED, not BYU, but UTED is the hash mark for Utah education, and so it's generally accepted. There's a couple of people here. Becky Edwards is a legislator. She's up at this celebration, so she's tweeting about that. She puts a hashtag mark there. And we're going to develop our own hashtag in Granite School so that I can actually create a retweeting. So when you tweet out and use that hash mark, I'm going to actually have an automated thing that tweets out automatically what you're tweeting, so it gets further exposure. This is another legislator, Senator Weiler from Leg District 23 in South Davis County. I'm going to take a sip of my Diet Coke. Hold on. Kim Frank is with the Utah Charter Chat. She's a big charter school advocate. Her husband's on the state school board, or actually is a former legislator. I'm thinking of Kim Coleman, who's also another charter individual. Utah Association of Charter Schools, so Utah Charters. I'm following a number of these individuals already. Utah Ledge retweet. So any of these people you want to follow, if you're looking here, Representative Briscoe is a legislator. Utah Public Education, that's the state office of education. So you can see there's a number. Lisa Schenker is the Tribune education beat reporter. So you can come through and start following a number of these people, and in turn they will probably follow you back. So I could go back if I want to see more tweets and pull up more here, and it would refresh the list here. So you can see how that kind of works. As more tweets get added at the top using this hashtag, that's where they come. I'm following a number of these people already, but say Leslie Dalton, she's a junior high English teacher, political candidate. Only has 6 followers. I'm going to give her a follow. She's a local individual, it appears, and I'm not going to add her to my list. I only add schools or districts to that list, but so I'll follow her. No big deal there. The more people you follow, generally they will follow you back. As far as schools, you're more targeted towards patrons, and so we're going to use some other marketing techniques to find you followers. So, but it doesn't hurt to follow some of these other individuals. So that's kind of how you find people to follow, and you can look up any topic here. You could look up football, just for a random example, and there's a bunch of people tweeting about football. You can look over here towards United States trends, Pamper Party, some political topics. Raven-Symoné, for whatever reason, is trending. Let's look up at that trend. So there's people tweeting about Raven-Symoné, that girl used to be on the Cosby Show. So you can see a number of these these tweets that are trending. If I change this, I could actually change it to, I think, Salt Lake City and see what is trending in Salt Lake City. So let's do that. Steve Powell, it's a big one because right now it was just announced that he was sentenced to, or I'm sorry, found guilty on 14 counts of voyeurism. So you can find people that, if you are not following Ben Winslow, I would. He's funny. He tweets on a number of education things. He's a Channel 13 TV reporter. So you can see what's trending here. The Utah legislature's in interim session today, and that's why they're trending. So if we looked up that one, you could see all these. This is a number of legislators that are tweeting, people tweeting about the legislative session. Nate Carlisle's a reporter for the Trib, Chris Van Oker, the political reporter for Channel 4, the Utah State Senate. I follow a number of these individuals because they're talking about topics that are often related to us because it is the legislature. UTPol is Utah Politics. That's another interesting one to follow. So anything you could think of with relation to tweets about Utah politics are here. So kind of interesting. That's just kind of how these trends work and hashtags work. So I can come here anytime to this Discover button, and it'll pull up things that are trending regionally. So here's an interesting one about this top basketball player back east who happens to be LDS, and so that's tweeting locally, and it's just little things. Larry Bird named, I mean, things that are trending across Twitter right now. So on the verge of state history, Oregon golfer loses state title to score collar violation. So you can see a number of those issues. You can also, it's always going to give you new tips on people and who to follow. So there's a number of reasons it pulls up these search things. It's kind of like in Facebook when they say who to be friends with. So be careful how you do that. You can also find friends by typing in email addresses. You can have them search your contacts and do those types of things. You can search Twitter this way. You can do that up here as well. I can search in a name. Let's say Beehive Elementary, ELEM. I don't have to be case sensitive. Hey, there it is, Beehive Elementary. Now I can follow them. I'm already following them. I wonder if they're following me. See, they're not even following me. What a jerk. I don't know what the deal with that is, but oh well. I'm sure they'll follow me now. In any case, I can always go back a screen, but there's easy ways to follow things. So this is Discover. That's hashtags, finding topics. A good way to find people. Connect is when people follow you, it'll indicate here. So sometimes people will retweet or tweet what I have already tweeted out because I tweeted it out. So Alpine School District tweeted that some information that I tweeted a little while ago. They follow me. There's a basic information box here. You can see I follow them, and let's make sure they're on my education list. Oh, they're not, so let's get them there. So there's a number of people that I follow. I've added 6 followers in the last 38 minutes. You can scroll down here. 13 people followed me as of 15th of May. So sometimes I'll come back and go through these people, make sure I'm following them, or make sure they're on my lists. See, they're on my list. So it's just kind of a good way to. Joanne Crawley's there. Hey, let's say hi to her. She's not getting followers, so I'm not going to add her to that list because it's probably her personal account. So Monroe Elementary, looks like they've added an icon. We want to make sure we follow them and add them to my list. So you can kind of see how I'm working my way around. There's the Granite Education Foundation. I'm following them. And this is there's Cece. Billy Hesterman is a reporter for the Daily Herald down in Utah County. So GSD Food Services they seem to cite me in all their tweets, and that's cool. You'll see sometimes I'll tweet about you guys or retweet what you've been tweeting. Silver Hills liked my tweet. Let's make sure I'm following them and they're on my list. Yes, they are. Very good. There's just been so many added that I got to make sure I'm following everybody and have them on my list. So Crestview Elementary following, make sure they're on my list. So you can kind of see, this is a good way to navigate. Sometimes I unfollow people. This guy didn't like that I unfollowed him because he used inappropriate language in his tweets. So that's kind of how that is. Sometimes I unfollow people because I don't like what they're tweeting about, and that's okay. Wes Kearns, I'm pretty sure I've already added him to the list, but let's double check. Very good. You can see this is just basically, this was a tweet from our class last week. So you can kind of see how that works. So that's connect. That's going to show you who's following you and who's talking about you or identifying you in their tweets. So that's kind of home. Always takes you back to this base place. You can see followers. Another good way to find followers is to look at people you already follow. So let's look at who I'm following and see who they follow. So let's look at Monroe Elementary and see who they're following. Maybe I'll find some people I want to follow. And you can see it already shows that I'm following some of these people, but Real Salt Lake, I'm not following them. Let's follow Salt Lake Community College. That's a good one to do. I like to follow the local universities. Hillsdale Elementary, haven't followed them yet. So let's add them to my list of education. Utah PTA, I don't know why I'm not following them. That's ridiculous. I am going to add them to this education list. So there's always good people to be following out there. I don't want to add a new list. I apologize. Looks like they've been out there finding people to follow. This is great. So good job, Monroe Elementary. C.S. Lewis quotes every day. That's kind of fun. There's an interesting one. I'll add that. eSchool News. Look at that. They're finding some good people to follow. Follow BYU with hesitation, but I'll do it. Since I did graduate from it. Hey, they're following me, and it shows me there as I can edit my profile. They are also following my my personal account. I'm not encouraging you to do so, as I tend to tweet about Utah football and politics a lot, so that might not be something you're interested in. So in any case, you can always look at their information here. You could block them, report them if they're doing things. I can turn on do some mobile notifications, and we'll get into that in our next class. But in any case, if somebody does follow you who's inappropriate, let me go home and show you. Sometimes I'm following inappropriate people and I don't realize it. Sometimes they're weird, okay? So I could actually identify some of these people, and I could go and I could block them from following me. If I don't want somebody to follow me, I can block them at any time. Now, mind you, they could do the same thing to us. So I'm following people from across the world because we're trying to create a lot of traction across the board about our Twitter account and get information out there about the good things that are happening. You can see a number of things we're following. West High School. So this is a good way to find. We're following school districts, independent school districts from across the nation. So you can see a number of those that we've picked up and are following. So I try not to follow people from out of the country, but sometimes I do anyway, so that's okay. You can see I followed as much as 1,800 people at any given time, and I've gone through and sometimes I'll just look at my tweets and say, you know, I don't really like what you're tweeting about. So let's find an example here. Let's see. There's just some different tweets out here. This is a school district, West Jordan News. Let's find something we don't want to follow anymore. That may be hard. Let's see, United Way, Salt Lake. Okay, this is kind of a dumb tweet. Maybe I'm not really interested. So I find out who's tweeting it, and it's a communications person, and maybe I don't want to follow them anymore, so I just click unfollow. And then I'm done. I just close, and they won't show up on my thing anymore. This is another straight hit. See, they're retweeting some dumb things, and that's kind of why I just pulled them off, because, you know, you're just clogging my feed. So that's kind of how that works. Now, a number of you have asked about your settings, changing your settings, changing your icon, your avatar, or maybe you want to change your name, and that's all done under settings. So you go up to the little human person here, and it can do my profile page. There's a thing called direct messages here. I set up my lists here. There's some help and keyboard thing, but settings is where I'm going to go. This is where if I wanted to change my username, I could do that. I could also change the email where it's going, where alerts are going to. I can add locations to my tweets. I do that just because I want people to know where I'm tweeting from. If I didn't want anybody else except for people I approve to see my tweets, I wouldn't encourage that. We want them to be public. We're trying to get information out there. That's how you do that. You can also deactivate your account. You can save any changes that I might have. It's going to ask me to redo my password, which I'm glad to do. Oops. Make sure I do that right. That's not important. So let's come back up here. Say I want to do my profile. So I'm in my settings still, so I'm still in this section right here. I could change my password here. I could change mobile notifications here. I'm sorry, mobile devices. I can sync it with my phone and get text alerts on the tweets. I wouldn't do that because we mostly have, you can use apps, which are a lot more useful, and we'll get into that in our next session. Notifications here, you can have, this is kind of an important one. I have Twitter email me when I get a direct message. You can also, when you're mentioned or send a reply on a tweet, you can have it email you. When you're followed by somebody new or marked as favorites. But actually, I don't know why it's doing that either. So I'm going to save my changes here. And I can go to my profile and I can change my picture if I want. And this is what somebody asked me specifically. So this is under settings. It's going to give you some opportunities over here. Profile, I can go and find another picture and put that there and play around with that. This also gives you a chance to you put in your school's website, your location. I'd leave this, your school name, and just say this is the official Twitter account for such and such school in West Valley City, and we thrive on quality education and a personalized, individualized, whatever you want to put. This also allows me to have Twitter to post to my Facebook profile. So I have that option as well. So I always say those changes. Design is where you can have different backgrounds. I have uploaded this image, and just as you can see, it did a tile pattern on that tile background there. If I took that off, it would just do it up there in the corner. I think that looks ugly. So I'm totally down with this background. And I just pick some other, it identifies the colors and does all that. So this also has apps that are approved. There's a number of apps that I use that I can revoke access. This is my iPhone app, so I could actually revoke access to it. I have a Twitter app on my Mac computer and on my iPad, on my iPhone, so you can see a number of things that I could do. I use a true twit validation, so I can filter out spam accounts. You can look that up if you'd like. And it's a free service. It doesn't cost any money, but it prevents spam accounts from following you. So that's kind of, and I looked at this one. It's not something that's really worked that well, but I'm still looking at some of those things. In any case, I can go home here, looking at my tweet feed has been updated over the last, so as of 50 seconds ago, I have more things being tweeted. I can see what's going down. Senator Mike Lee's talking about the Obama budget, just a number of things being talked about. So this is the youth ledge appropriated $5.12 billion from the general fund of 5.3. So he's just talking numbers here. I could retweet some of that information. It's kind of interesting. So you can kind of see how that works. If I want to send out a tweet, it pulls up this little screen, and I can just type in something. So doing a live screencast for our schools on how to use Twitter. I'm going to use the UTED hashtag on that, and I tweet that out, and it pops it up here. So this is really my only thing. I don't really have anything else to discuss on this. We're going to get a little more detailed on this. Remember, you need to identify 50 followers, and I set some other goals up for you, so let me make sure I covered those items for you. I find 50 people to follow. So by the time we meet next Tuesday on the 22nd, you're following 50 people. If I go to my lists here and go to education, I can see who's tweeting and who's not. So I'm going to retweet that. I think that's great. But you can see it's important that we be tweeting every day. I'd be tweeting a couple times a day at least. But this is my education list, and you can see not a lot of our schools are tweeting out. I know that you're tweeting more than this, and this list is not up to date, but you can see my recently added members. But in any case, you need to start tweeting daily. You need to find 50 people. You need to make sure that you have a photo in your avatar, and I've shown you how to do that. Make sure your username is case sensitive. So mine is capital G Granite, capital S Schools. Yours, and we've talked about that. So this one is perfect right here if you look at this one. Hillsdale ELEM. That is perfect. That's exactly what we want it to look like, just for consistency. So in any case, if you have any questions and would need me to talk you through anything, you know my extension and you know my email, so give me a call. Thanks and have a great day.